Hi there, this is Toiva again, and today I want to talk about 12 things that you should not do in South Korea. The number one thing, which is the most obvious thing, if you ask me, is that you should never be late to any appointment with a South Korean or with anyone for that matter. You should never be late to anything. Koreans really hate it so much, and it's like a breach of trust for them. The second thing is that you should never wear your shoes inside the house. Like you're just coming from somewhere and then you just enter the apartment and go about your business. It's really, really frowned upon here in South Korea. So most people have some kind of a pair of slippers that they wear inside the home. So you off the one that you're wearing from outside, and then you wear the one that is for house alone. The next thing, which is the number three, is to be speaking or to talk loudly in a public space, especially on public transportation like the bus or the train or anywhere. Maybe you're just going out with your friend and you decide like, oh, let's just about this. You have to be as quiet as possible. Nobody said you should not talk, but you should be mindful of other people that are in the same space with you. Another thing you should not do in South Korea is not to receive gifts with one hand. So it's like generally a sign of respect that whenever, especially someone like your boss or an elderly person who is trying to give you something, you have to take it with your two hands. That shows that you are really respectful and you are mindful of the culture here. Number five is that you should never tip in South Korea. There's nothing like tipping, like, oh, after eating, you enjoy the service or you enjoy the products that maybe the food that you had and you are like, oh, I need to tip this restaurant or something like that. Just like it's normal in other parts of the world. It's almost non-existent in South Korea. The number six thing you should not do in South Korea is to eat before the elders at the table or to stand up after eating before the elders at the table. You have to wait till the elders on the table start eating before you start eating your food, and after eating you have to take your time and wait for the elders to stand up and leave first before you can take your leave. Number seven thing that you should not do in South Korea is to assume that everybody speaks English. That is totally wrong. If you assume that everyone speaks English, then you would have so much difficulty. That's why it's advisable that tourists who intend to visit South Korea need to learn at least the basics of Korean language in order to survive in South Korea. The number eight thing that you should not do in South Korea is not to recycle properly. This is very common for people that only come for a short period of time and are not used to recycling the trash properly. It's a very serious thing in South Korea, and there are penalties for people that actually do not obey this rule. Everything must be sorted properly and be disposed of properly. There are categories for each trash, and like there are different containers where you have to dump them, so be mindful of that and research well before you come into Korea. I think the last time that I checked, the penalty for disposing trash improperly is probably like 1 million won. I'm not sure. I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, and that's about 1,000 US dollars. So yeah, it's a big deal. The number nine thing that you should not do in South Korea is to refuse gifts or items or orders. This is very peculiar to people that have to answer to bosses or to elder ones. In South Korea, if somebody give you order, it's very serious that you take it, especially if the person is your boss. And if people give you gifts, you should not refuse it. It's a very big sign of disrespect. Another thing, which is the number 10th thing you should not do in South Korea, is to sit at the designated seats for disabled, elderly, and pregnant women on the bus or on the train. That is very bad thing to do. It's not like anybody will take you up on it, but sometimes the locals can confront you and ask you to stand up from the seats. It's usually marked pink for pregnant women on the train and maybe yellow or orange for these categories on the bus. Although it is quite common to see Koreans wear skimpy skirts all around the country, but it is very, very uncommon to see someone wear a sleeveless top in South Korea, as it is generally not, I won't say acceptable, but it's frowned upon. So it's something that you should not do. The number 12 thing and the last thing that I will be mentioning that you should not do in South Korea is to talk down on anyone. Even if you are talking to your age mates, you should still maintain some form of informal, polite tone when you are speaking. And this is provided for in Korean language. But often I've seen like English language speakers not being able to abide by this because, you know, English is a very proud language. But it is very important that you are conscious of this, especially when you are talking to elders or when you are eating with them. There are a lot of conscious words that you should not say, and there are some tones that you should not take when you are talking to them. That's all. If you have more that I have forgotten to add, please add them in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.